Rise, renew, reconnect. Welcome to From the Ashes, a podcast where bold conversations empower healing and authentic, vibrant living. I'm your host, Valerie Huang Beck, and I'm on a mission to evolve the dialogue that moves humanity harmoniously forward.
And the fire in the darkest night, the phoenix burns. It's ready for flight. Shadows may come, try to tear you apart, but you're the flame.
All right, everyone, welcome back to From the Ashes podcast. It's Valerie here, and I have my friend Tian from New Zealand originally, but we are meeting up in person in Japan, which is pretty wild after like 8 years, right, of not seeing each other.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Wait, it's
maybe even
2026.
longer.
No, it's
Oh,
longer.
yeah. It's been like a decade,
It's
probably.
been a decade because I left New Zealand in 2016.
Yeah.
Dang.
So it's been a decade, yeah. A hot decade.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's crazy how, like, I had no idea I was ever gonna see you again in my life. And then I think you saw some posts of mine on Facebook. You're like, "Oh, hey, you're here. I'm here too in Tokyo." And then, yeah, I was like, "Oh, it's so random." And yeah, now we're here for a podcast.
I really don't get to connect with the people like way out in New Zealand, Australia that I know very
Yeah.
often because you guys are just so far.
Yeah.
And like you guys are, it's almost like another world. So it's so cool to like be able to connect again.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how we know each other. Okay. So we both were training at Flow Academy, right?
Mm.
More or less like
Yeah.
in the parkour, tricking, tumbling sphere of things. So that's the context
Yeah.
of it, right?
Yeah. Back in New Zealand when you were there, yeah.
Yeah.
I trained a few times.
But Tian has also become a life coach.
Yeah, more or less. I feel like I've always been kind of on and off, like, guiding people, but never really officially making it a thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's always been a part of me that now I'm like, "Okay, I think I need to make it more official as almost like my service into the world in a way."
Yeah.
Mm.
So I want to dive into that
Yeah.
story because I do know, I think when I met you, I think you were already like influencer, right?
Yeah.
And I think I think I felt like somewhere along the way, like you were doing this as well, like kind of like the coaching and the self-improvement and all of that.
Yeah.
So like my podcast is called From the Ashes.
Cool.
So
Like a phoenix from the ashes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like I want to ask you, like, what is your, when did you start to do this work? And like, did you have any personal experiences where you really had to figure stuff out on your own? What the meaning of your life is?
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, I think it was like, yeah, this was the height of my influencer days where when I was, I think, yeah, around 2016, I was more into like comedy and stuff. So I was going viral a lot for like comedy videos and going on this like dating show and stuff. I don't know if you saw that clip.
I don't remember.
Okay, anyways, I was on this dating show. This clip went really viral, and then I was like a funny guy for a while. And then I felt like, I mean, that was fun, and it was like I really liked the intention and the ego boost and feeling like, oh wow, I'm a somebody kind of thing, right? But at a certain point, I kind of felt like, as much as I want to be a part of this circle of like influencers and comedians and stuff, I always felt like it wasn't fully who I am.
Yeah.
It's like I just wanted to be cool, be with the cool kids, and I did. But then at a certain point, I'm like, if I keep pretending, it's not completely authentic to who I really am. And I think there was always like a deeper part of me that's like, well, if you have all this attention and you're just kind of making memes and stuff that's kind of silly to get views, a part of me feels like I wasn't living up to my own purpose and my own potential.
Yeah.
So the deeper parts of me really started coming out. It was almost like, it's like I feel like I have like it's like I have the funny part and then I have the more spiritual serious part. And then when I do one part too much, the other part starts like nagging me to go there.
Yeah.
So then I feel like I always needed to balance my comedic non-serious stuff with more deeper serious stuff. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how it started, I would say.
Do you know why
Yeah.
you have a serious or spiritual side? Like, where does that come from?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, like where does it like but do you like are you saying like some people just don't have that side?
Yeah.
That's probably true, huh? Maybe it's just like a innate thing, I guess. Well, yeah, I mean that's a good question. It's like why are some people not able to be deep, period? And why are some people more naturally drawn to being deep, right?
Well, yeah, because okay, one of your missions is
Yeah.
to help people find themselves, right?
Yeah.
Some people just don't know that they're even they don't
Lost?
feel lost.
Right.
Right? So and I think there's like a journey of like some people find themselves really struggling lost. Like I feel like I was one of those people, and prior to that point, like I was fine not looking,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you're not suffering and you don't feel lost, then just keep doing your thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's like no one needs to come into your life and be like, "No, you need to do this or that." Like,
Right.
if you're good, then you're good, right?
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, maybe to answer your question, it's like there were a lot of moments where I didn't feel like maybe aligned with who I really am,
Yeah.
and the people around me and the environment didn't feel aligned. So part of me was suffering and
Yeah.
was wanting some sort of relief or coherence with my life.
Yeah.
So maybe that was slowly kind of always in the background. And then there's, the whole tears of a clown thing where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be positive and funny, but then in the background there's always something amiss.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's where it was coming from.
Okay. Yeah, dissonance,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Sure. Yeah.
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 I'll give you a little bit of like context for this question too,
Yeah.
because I think for me, it was actually after New Zealand that I've had depression before,
Mm.
right? Like I think prior to it was like 2014 or so, and
Yeah.
then like New Zealand was kind of a break for me,
Right.
and then I went back and I like kind of fell back into it.
Mm.
So during those moments was like, why, I think a lot of it was like, why is the world so messed up? Or like, what, why is it that I can't function the way that other people function? It's all these
Oh, yeah,
questions.
yeah. No, I think similar to me. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. But sorry, keep going.
No, no, yeah. So I just, that's why I ask is because like usually when we feel this pull to help other people and to really like, find who we are, it's
Yeah.
because like we really don't feel like who we like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So I think you're right. It's like the ones that help people find their way are the ones that's lost their way so many times that they needed to find it themselves.
yeah,
That eventually they're like, oh, this is a thing people experience. And if I can help myself find my way, then maybe I can help others as well, or something like that.
yeah.
Right?
Totally.
Yeah.
That's where it starts anyway, and
Mm.
then you learn along the way, like, it's really hard. Right? I think that it's a lifelong journey
To find
to
yourself?
find yourself.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
sure.
a commitment really to
Mm.
kind of a process actually,
Yeah.
rather than, like, an ending outcome.
Yeah, I think you're always reinventing and evolving and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like you can't just like this. Oh, I don't know. I guess it depends on the person, but I know what you're trying to say. Yeah.
Well, it's
Mm,
hard once you start to learn about yourself to stop. I think that's
mm,
one of the things, and then, in addition to becoming a coach myself, I took on
mm.
other coaches.
Right,
Like, so I work with a couple who really help guide me and, like, put frameworks on what I'm experiencing.
right.
And one of my coaches, Kate, she was talking about these, like, fractal points where,
Mm,
you have your superpower that is, like, driving you forward and kinda helps you with the leaps, but then there's the shadow self of you where they're, like, not negative patterns, but, like, patterns that obstruct you from actually being your authentic self because, like, you're afraid. And
mm.
so, like, those patterns will show up again and again too until you become aware of them.
Right. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Does that resonate?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Okay.
true. Yeah. It's like this constant. Yeah, I mean, this is a whole spiritual journey, right?
Yeah.
Where you're like constantly. I mean, this goes so deep. It's like whether it's certain patterns or karma or what have you, and you're like transmuting,
Yeah.
the darkness into the light and the unconscious into the conscious. The more you dig, the deeper you go, the more you grow, and it's like, yeah, well, and eventually, I think it becomes like if you keep going on this journey, it becomes something like Jesus, where you become like a Christ-like figure. And I
Right.
feel like, in a way, people like Jesus or Buddha or whatever, it's like that's kind of almost an example of the height or the epitome
Right.
of what you would sort of become if you keep going, I suppose.
But that's hard work. That's really, really hard work, right? And so and to commit to that path, right? I think, the Buddha, I definitely have studied his story a little bit more,
Yeah.
but it's like he had to really sit with, like, what's not going to be me anymore. Also, like,
Mm.
because he grew up as a prince,
Yeah.
and then he, like, gave that all up. He gave up his marriage,
Mm.
actually, and all of that to, like, find the truth, right?
Mm, mm, yeah.
So this idea of, like, sacrificing what isn't aligned,
Yeah.
sometimes that can be very painful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that, like, or have you had that in the recent years
Yeah,
where you've
constantly, yeah.
constantly
Yeah,
yeah.
constantly. I mean, at one point, I had, like, I don't know, 1,500 friends on Facebook or something, right?
Yeah.
Now I have 12.
Oh, wow.
So, and even from those 12, I don't really talk to them anymore. So it feels like throughout it's like my entire life in New Zealand, a lot of the times felt kind of fake. And I feel like the past 6 years or so, it's just been like slowly transitioning out of that and like
Okay.
removing everything that wasn't, yeah, like you said, aligned with me or isn't true to me anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you from New Zealand originally?
I was born in China,
Okay.
but I moved to New Zealand when I was 7.
Okay.
Yeah, but even then, the moment I got there, I was quite depressed.
Okay.
I think my depression started at 7 years old when I moved to New Zealand, yeah.
Okay.
And it's taken me, I mean, but, there's a lot of good things with New Zealand that I'm grateful for and stuff, but, yeah, it took me a long time to kind of get to that point
Yeah.
with New Zealand, and even then, I kinda still felt like it wasn't really my place
Yeah.
with my people and my kinda culture, like, I like the good things, but overall, it's not.
Mm.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can relate.
yeah.
I wanna also I wanna ask you about tricking and
Mhm.
movement because I know you've mentioned recently, like, you came up with rope flow,
Rope flow,
like
yeah.
which is a separate movement practice, right?
Mm, mm.
But movement I feel like that's been part of you for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And you are the second, like, tricker turned life coach in my circles that
Oh,
I
really?
know, at least.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's
Yeah.
interesting there's this because I became a coach, I think a lot of it was inspired by movement.
Really?
'Cause I started off as, like, a hip hop dancer
Oh,
and
that's right.
then
Yeah, yeah, you had a dance background.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then, like, got into the whole, like, acrobatics, parkour thing, like, stuff like that,
Yeah.
and I just part of it is just it helps me be super present,
Mm.
right? Like, when you're doing a flip in the air, like, you can't think about other things,
Yeah.
and also there's
Yeah.
such a challenge it's so satisfying to be able to land something right,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and and you get to feel kinda superhuman when you're
Yeah.
doing it,
Mm.
and there's this sense of empowerment, I think that we get to feel when we're doing this practice. And I
Mm.
wonder for you if that's like influenced the way that you coach, like the way that you see things.
Well, I think actually the whole tricking, like, this is the reason I think most people don't get into tricking is because they how do I like, they can't deal with difficulty in a way.
Mm.
Like, it's not that tricking is necessarily that hard, but you have to be willing to fail a lot
Oh yeah.
in order to get there.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, I guess same with like breakdancing, and if you wanna do like windmills and flares, there's a lot of trial and error, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta really have the perseverance to stick through it. But then it's like, well, if you are a person that's able to break through so much difficulty and come out at the other side, then you sort of develop this mindset that anything is possible.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you're not a snowflake anymore where like the slightest amount of challenge just makes you, weep and go home, right?
Yeah.
But you're like, no, it's like, I'm willing to face the difficulty and the darkness, and
Yeah.
I'm ready to go, I'm prepared to go through it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that as a mindset, whether you do it in tricking or life, it's like, that definitely helps. But then I find the people that do tricking originally already have that kind of mindset.
Yeah.
That's why they do tricking,
Yeah.
because they can handle it. Because I met people that are really talented in movement.
Yeah.
And honestly, the person that got me started into tricking, like, he's a much better mover than me.
Yeah.
But then he didn't go very far in tricking because he didn't like the grit of failing.
Mm.
He kind of always had this like streak of just doing things the first few times and getting it really well,
Yeah.
and then looking like, this perfect being that can do anything. But with tricking, you got to fall on your face and bail a lot, right?
And not only that, but risk like serious injury.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
that's true, true.
Which and
Yeah,
I have.
yeah,
And I find myself still really drawn to doing like tricking I've put kind of to the side, but even just like tumbling
right.
which still has a lot of you need to fail a lot,
Yeah, yeah,
right? And not only that, because if you're not progressing, at some point you need to look at like, well, what is the pattern that's causing me to co- to fall short every single time?
yeah, yeah,
And that
yeah.
I have found to be really valuable.
Right, like not just in tricking,
Not
but in
just in
life, right?
tricking, but like
Yeah,
because I was
like
literally
troubleshooting your
yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, because 'cause I'm 38 now, right?
Mm.
Crazy. But, it took me this long because I just got back to the gym after 2 years of not have because my knee was like, I
Right,
couldn't really do that much on it. So,
right.
coming back to the gym and then having coaches look at me and like trying things again and feeling like, oh, I pretty much can pick up where I left off, which is awesome. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm picking up the patterns that I had in the first place that got me in trouble. And
Right.
right.
Mm.
And then having coaches be like, you're how much power that you have in your movement is actually working against you.
Mm.
And me being like, that's how I do life everywhere,
Right.
is that I power through,
Mm.
and I think that I could just muscle it without the
Oh, I see.
you
Yeah, yeah.
know?
Like the proper foundations to sustain that, right?
Right, 'cause,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I could do a I
Yeah.
he was like, "You could do a back handspring,
Yeah.
and you should be able to do it no problem, but because you're so used to, like,
Like
using
forcing
the
yeah.
speed to get you through rather than, like, actually leaning into relaxing because you already have the muscle strength to do it,
Yeah, yeah.
like, you're making it harder for yourself."
Yeah, 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 I completely relate.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, "So I don't have to try harder? Like, I don't have to, like I don't have to keep, and it's such a revelation because, like, I think, we think that we have to get all these ducks in a row, but you already like, at some point, like, it's enough, right? So
Well, I think it's like you're special, like you have a lot of power or force to begin with, right?
right.
And that's an advantage in a certain way. But then if you overuse it and you don't develop proper technique or muscle control,
Yeah,
then it's like, well, you can do it, but over time, every time you're doing it, you're damaging your body, right?
exactly, and spatial awareness,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah, and some people are like the opposite. It's like they don't have much power, but then they just have so much awareness over their body that like, even though they progress slower, they have less power, like, their progression feels a bit more sustainable and
Yeah.
safer?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, and
Mm.
so it's being able to continue to look at that over a lifetime because, like,
Yeah.
the pitfall is that you think, "Oh, I should have been here already by the time I'm 38, 39, whatever,"
Right.
and being like, "I'm not there, so, like, I'm gonna stop," or whatever, right? Because I think
Yeah.
this is what a lot of people end up doing is that, like,
Yeah.
they feel like they've done everything they can and then but they actually there's just so much more to learn about yourself
Yeah.
in continuing the practice.
Yeah.
So that's how for me, that's how movement,
Uh,
has really informed the
like, your
life
life
aspect
Oh,
approach.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I think this was more unconscious when I was younger, but, like, I've always been a very active kid. Like, even when I was 3 in China, I was always running around with my friends and jumping on mattresses and stuff, and, like, rollerblading and all that. And then when I got to New Zealand, it's like, "Oh, yeah, play soccer, play basketball, play rugby, you just play water polo," like, constantly doing sports. And it wasn't until, like, maybe a few years ago when I was going through more of, like, a dark depressive phase, and I stopped moving as much,
Mhm.
that I realized how much it impacted my mind.
Yeah.
And, like, I didn't realize it at the time, but when I suddenly did and I started moving again more and just being more in my body, it
Yeah.
was like, "Holy shit, this is the difference between, like, like a winner and a loser kinda thing,
Yeah,
or, like,
yeah.
me feeling good or me eventually, like, being super depressed and, you know, doing all these bad things." Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we take it for granted because,
Yeah, we
like
do, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so now it's like, with movement, it's like it's not even like I think before it was always, like, for the sport itself, like, I wanted, learn a backflip because I wanna learn a backflip, and there wasn't really the health or the mental aspect
Mm,
to it, the
mhm.
mental health aspect, but now it's like, I'm like, if I don't move, I know I'm gonna feel shit. So, it's like I'm looking for ways to move, not just for the sake of the movement, but also just for my overall well-being. Like,
Yeah.
it's a cliche where people are like, "Oh, exercise is good for your mental health," right? You
Yeah.
hear it, but you don't really
Yeah.
until you experience how badly you need it, and
Yeah.
then you have it, then you're like, "Okay, yeah, I get it."
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, even this past week, because like, I didn't
yeah,
get to the gym until yesterday,
yeah,
because like, I was just there was so much work to do, and I could feel myself being like,
yeah.
I I'm getting into this place where I really don't need to be there
Mm.
in terms of like, "Oh, I'm feeling sad," and I was like, "I could
Yeah,
just go take a dance class. I just have to
yeah,
make time for that,"
yeah, yeah.
kinda thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like, so many times it's like, there's that saying where it's like, you can't solve mind problems of the mind, you have to solve it with the body.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then sometimes it's like I'm ruminating, trying to solve all these things. But then if I just, like, go to the gym or work out or do something my body wants, it's like, it's the perfect antidote to all the crazy ruminations of my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
So how do you coach your clients? Like, what is your approach right now for the life coaching part, at least?
It's like, well, it's just through a conversation, I
Mhm.
guess, right? And then through the conversation, I eventually I get to know them more, and then I start piecing together things they actually like, and I guess aspects of themselves that I feel are really true. Like, a lot of it I feel like comes from intuition, where I can feel certain things are on point and aligned with that person. And basically throughout the conversation, I get data on the person. And then once I have enough like data points, you can say, then I
Mhm.
can form a picture around that person.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, okay, you're telling me this, but you're doing this. And then, but there's this thing that I think maybe will match you more,
Yeah.
given what I've known. And then we kind of just like prod at different possibilities, I suppose, of their life, and then yeah, help them find their way,
Yeah.
more or less. Yeah.
What do you think is like the most rewarding thing about doing this work?
Well, because for me, like I feel like when people like it's such a deficit to the world when people aren't being themselves and doing
Yeah.
what they're really meant to be doing. So I guess it's almost like the satisfaction of like how can I like some people like they see someone's clothing tag sticking out
Yeah.
and they want to put it back in, right?
Yeah.
And it's just okay, that's like
Yeah.
the right way to do it. So sometimes I see that with people, and it's like you can see that it's like they're misaligned and somehow. Then it's like you just like correct it, and it's
Yeah.
like that's like this like satisfying feeling of like you're restoring some sort of balance back into the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like every single person is like a link to the world's harmony and the world's balance and the world's peace or whatever, right?
Yep.
So then it's like, well, as much as I can do now, it's like if I can see certain links that are like inhibited or misaligned somehow and I can fix it, then it's like just really satisfying, I
Yeah.
guess, in that sense of
Yeah.
like, yeah, feeling like I'm doing something important.
Oh, I really love that image of like bringing the kind of like the flow of
Yeah, yeah.
humanity back into.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
get that.
yeah. And I feel like, I mean, because my theory is like if everyone is actually in flow with themselves and the world and nature and whatever, like that's like probably the only way to create world peace.
Yeah.
Like you can do all of these things and have all of these ideas of what you think is right, but
Yeah.
if you're doing things that don't feel right to your heart and your soul, it doesn't really matter what you do.
Yeah.
It doesn't like you can't get there eventually. Essentially, is
Yeah.
what I've noticed. Yeah,
Ah, I love that.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever studied any kind of like yoga
Mm,
philosophy,
mm.
but like they say this also in the like kind of the scriptures
Right.
is this idea of
Dharma.
dharma.
Right.
Yeah. And I actually turned that word into flow. Like I was like looking at
Yeah.
it from a modern perspective, right?
Yeah.
Because dharma can mean many different things, but what I think it points the most strongly to is a person's unique potential.
Yeah.
And right, which has to it's not like one thing. It's what is created from the person's upbringing, environment, and history that
Mm.
would allow them to flourish in their like what makes them, right? That
Right.
authenticity piece.
Right.
But I think they go also beyond saying just that to,
Mm.
if you are in your dharma, if you have your alignment in
Yeah.
that way, like it opens up a different type of abundance for you,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? It's not necessarily how much money you're making or, like, how
Mm.
many resources you have per se, but it's almost like the energy of being resourced to do what you're meant to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
and then there's another part so there's, like, that dharma, artha, kama, which is
Oh, yeah, the Purusharthas.
the
Yeah, 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 I made a video on this
Oh,
actually.
you
Yeah,
did?
yeah. Oh, that's so cool. You're the only other person that I
Alright.
know have ever studied it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I made an
cool.
entire, like, mini course on it.
Oh, really? Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
so, yeah, so good. You know the
Yeah.
Purushartha.
Yes.
So, yeah, artha,
Interesting.
to me, it's like it's not looking at just the superficial wealth, but it's also, like, you know, things coming in together in your favor so that you can carry out your dharma in a more
Yeah,
expanded
yeah.
way.
Well, I would say Artha, it's not even just about money, but it's like even like knowing like, okay, we need a room to film this podcast in,
Yeah,
right? We need a mic, we need this and that. It's like the things the structural things you need to do in your life so that you can do your dharma, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Right. And it's like,
exactly.
well, sometimes you do need money, right? To buy
Yes, money is part of
to
it
pay
for
your
sure.
rent so you can live and stuff, right? But it's not everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like so ooh, we'll get into, like, basic needs after because I think
Sure.
there's this like level of really needing to like take care of your body and self-preserve too, in order for you to be able to even get to the point where you can pursue your dharma.
Yeah, yeah.
But like going back to Purusharthas, and there's like the kama piece, the enjoyment piece of it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The way that I was taught in school is like, look at it as you're doing your dharma. You're like you're a resource to do it, right? So you have your artha part,
Yeah.
and you have this. Then there's a natural ability to derive pleasure in your life because you are so doing what you're meant to be doing, and the universe is like supporting you to do it.
Yeah.
Right? That's like a deeper type of pleasure. It's not superficial, like I'm just enjoying life.
Mm.
And I think that like that is also worth pursuing, is like being able to enjoy like
Yeah.
being integrated.
Yeah, well, I think karma is actually, for me, is like, ideally, if you can find your dharma from your karma, is like really good.
Yeah.
Because it's like even it's like if you find something meaningful to do, but if you don't enjoy it as much, I just feel like your impact isn't as strong.
Yeah.
Like I think like even if I don't know if you ever study like the levels of consciousness thing, where it's like
Probably.
the lowest is like shame and guilt, and then it
Yeah,
goes
yeah.
into like courage, and then joy, and then enlightenment and stuff. But anyways, like the level of joy actually sits really high.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're just operating from joy, even if you're not doing anything like, you know, that's your purpose or that you're consciously trying to do, it's like if you're just operating from that, then like anything you do is actually contributing somehow, I would
Yeah, it
say,
is.
in a positive way. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that, there's no necessarily an order to it. It kind of
Mm-hmm.
like if you were t but if you were to like, if you were to look at it as a wheel,
Yeah.
right? If they're all working in tandem, it creates, this ease, it's flow,
Right, right.
right?
Yeah.
And then that brings us to the last piece, which is the moksha piece, right? The
Mm.
liberation piece.
Yeah.
And to me, like, liberation and I think integration is such a great word. Because there's, like, an alignment for people where they're, like, their tag is in,
Yeah.
and, like, that everything is good, and
Yeah.
in terms of, like, okay, you have the strength also to, like, navigate your challenges,
Right.
but also, like, because you're doing what you're meant to be doing, you're a resource, you enjoy life, like, there's this natural like, I am who I am. There's it's such a groundedness, and yeah, that's like the completeness of moksha, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does that flow for you, or like do you have any others on
I
moksha?
think for moksha, like, because I try to ground the Purusharthas as much as possible for modern age. So
Yeah,
the way like there's basically like every Purushartha is like activities you can do, right?
yeah,
So I don't know. Let's say Dharma is like your life coaching, and then Kama is maybe your dancing or
yeah,
something. Then Artha is like, I guess, could also be the life coaching because you're
yeah,
making money and stuff. But like I feel like the way I see moksha in a way that kind of becomes sort of a more maybe practical
yeah.
system is like moksha for me are like just activities. You can call it spiritual or whatever, but activities that helps you come back to yourself.
Oh,
So
okay.
things like, people like the common things like, oh, you can do breath work, you can do journaling, you can do meditation, right? Things
Mhm.
like that. You can do yoga, right? And these are kind of like some of these you can say are kind of like spiritual activities, but they don't necessarily have to be spiritual. But
Mm,
it's like I think everyone has their own activities that helps them come back to themselves. And I think meditation is really good because it's almost like you're doing nothing and you can kind of just be at this sense of inner presence with yourself.
mm,
Yeah, because it's like if you don't know how to feel you, then everything else you do kind of becomes a little bit clumsy in a way. So
yeah,
I feel like you need the moksha piece in there to try and find yourself back to you. Then everything you do from that place becomes a lot cleaner and clearer.
yeah,
Yeah, and I feel like this is the part of Purusharthas I really like over a system like Ikigai,
yeah,
right? Like Ikigai is basically the Purusharthas without moksha,
right.
and I feel like moksha is such an important piece because, like, we can identify that maybe your dharma is a life coach or to make iPhones or whatever,
Mm,
right? And this and that, but it's like if you don't if you have an intellectual idea of what your purpose is, but you don't feel in your skin when you're doing it, it's like doesn't matter what you do, it kind
yeah,
of it doesn't become as clean as it could be.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think another way, 'cause I really
Mhm.
like how you were placing it into activities that would cultivate that
Yeah.
part of the wheel is that, like, it's a lot of that is about authenticity,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Because then, like, you need to feel like it is you,
Yeah,
right?
exactly, yeah, not just
Yeah.
because some guru told you you should meditate an hour a day, and
Yeah.
then you're like, "Okay, I'll just force myself to do it." But then you don't listen to your body, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, for sure, and that's why I think, things like meditation and stuff, like, I think that does work, but also a lot of people can turn that into, like, almost like a spiritual repression in a
Yeah.
way
It
where, like,
becomes
yeah,
religion almost, or like
yeah,
it like a blind following of a
exactly.
practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, so that's the whole point, it's like, without that moksha, you don't know what's real to you, so then you can start being blind. You can blindly do a bunch of shit that
Yeah.
people say it's good for you,
Yeah.
but if you don't feel it, then yeah, it's not, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
It's not gonna get you anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, because I think that's one aspect I found was so important is, like, I met so many people that, like, profess certain practices and techniques and stuff, and they're so, like, adamant about it, they're like, "This is the way," but then they don't understand that everyone is kind of different in a way.
Yeah.
Like some teachers, they're like, "Okay, this is the way." Like, you go to even, like, if you go to, like, a Vipassana retreat,
Yep.
they're like, "This is the way," and even you talk to the teachers, they're like, "This is the way," and I feel like it's so, like and even Goenka talks about not doing things by blind faith, but
Yeah.
then sometimes the way they teach it almost feels like they're so convinced that this is the only way to liberation that they don't allow space for, like, authenticity
Yeah.
to live and experiment. And then when you tell people, like, when you're so convinced that this is the way, and you convince other people to do it, like, and the other person isn't similar to you where it would work, then it's like you're leading them astray,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
I think that's the difference between being like Jesus or Buddha and being Jesus or Buddhist followers, you know? It's
Mm.
like because they're following but their leader, but the leader's consciousness, their way of being is actually what needs to be is what's available, right? It's what we're trying to embody, but we can't do that for other people. We can only really do that for ourselves.
Yeah.
And so when we're saying, like, you have to meditate 10 hours a day,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
and this is the only way, it's probably because, like, you haven't really gotten there,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're s I don't know, maybe but I've had to, like, because 'cause I've done Vipassana as well, actually,
Mm.
that's how I started off
Mm.
with a lot of my spiritual stuff,
Right.
and then, like, going into Ashtanga yoga, which I also like, that became a very rigid practice for me,
Mm.
and then ultimately was just not healthy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, because it was like, you have to do it this way, show up 6 days a week, 2
Mm.
hours a day, and, like, my
Yeah.
body was, like, breaking, you know?
Right. Oh, shit.
Right,
Damn, that's crazy.
because like, that's meant for
That's like
people.
military.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
it's also meant for people who do only that. But the
Ah.
thing is, I was doing, like, capoeira and stuff at night
Oh, I see.
it's not meant for somebody who's already really, really active.
Right.
And at the end of the day, like, there's just so many rules and restrictions in place that don't
Yeah.
make sense for everybody.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But then it's like, if you don't have your own consciousness
Yeah.
and discernment of, like, what's right for you, and you just follow blindly, then I think that could lead to your own destruction,
Yep.
you know?
Yeah. So,
Yeah. So that's why I think, yeah, moksha is such a good piece, I feel like. I mean, at least the way I see it, maybe I'm completely bastardizing what they're saying, but that's the way I see the piece of moksha is, like, to know yourself in a way.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that that's, I one of the beauties of doing this work
Mm.
is exploring it, like,
Yeah.
really sitting for like, and seeing for ourselves what this word means.
Yeah.
Because I think part of it is actually learning the truth embodied,
Yeah.
right? It is actually learning the truth experienced, as
Mm.
opposed to learning the concept and just intellectually knowing it. Because, like,
Yeah.
you know, we can have many different definitions for the word moksha, and,
Yeah.
you know
That's true.
yeah.
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 But I will say, I think this also comes back to, like, a consciousness thing where, like, if you're operating from a lower level of consciousness, sometimes it is more effective for that person if you give them a very rigid routine,
Mhm.
because them doing that is at least better than them doing what maybe they would normally do.
Mm.
Like, that wouldn't take them all the way to, like, spiritual enlightenment or whatever, but it might be better than nothing. So I think a lot of times spiritual teachings are dispensed in a way to more of an average audience.
Yeah.
So if you are already above average, then it's almost like you have to be very aware of what feels right for you and to take what works for you and and
Yeah.
this and ignore the other parts. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
it's so tricky because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like, it we have to be mindful that, like, we as teachers or guides, we
Yeah.
we have a limitation of as to how much influence we have.
Mm.
Like, it really does fall on the other person to meet us halfway, but we don't wanna force anything because, like, when we do give practices and they take it as the law, you know, that's
Right,
a
right.
dangerous thing to do.
Yeah, right. Well, I think,
Yeah.
like, that's why a lot of in my opinion, the best teachers always tell you to try and teach you to think for yourself
Yeah.
and to not take what they say as dogma,
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, because I mean, some people, they're so convinced they're the way, then they become, like, cult leaders and stuff,
Yeah.
right? And then that kinda goes down a different route, but, um, yeah, like, if you can teach people to think for them, like, you teach them what you know, but also teach them to think for themselves, I guess, yeah, or
Yeah.
to question what you're saying as well, I think makes a good teacher. Like, yeah, like, if a teacher just goes up to you and says, "Okay, this is my way and this is the only way," it's like a red flag for me, like,
Yeah.
feeling like that teacher has only existed within their own bubble of
Mhm.
what works, and because it's worked for them, it's like they're, like, projecting out their reality into everyone's reality, not knowing everyone kinda lives, you know, everyone's a bit different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, and since
Yeah,
the phrase has come up so many times in our
yeah.
conversation, have you seen The Mandalorian at all?
The Star Wars thing?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I haven't.
Okay, maybe you definitely should
Oh,
because the
yeah?
the the phrase that he says,
Yeah,
the so I'll give you just, like, a little background. I don't
yeah,
know Star Wars that well, but, like,
yeah,
the Mandalorians are basically, like, this group, I guess,
yeah.
and it's a religious group,
Oh,
and their phrase is, "This is the way."
this is the way, right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
okay.
and
Yeah,
I think the story around the Mandalorian revolves around him breaking his strict, like, very, like, "This is the way" framework
right,
to,
right,
like,
right.
start to think for himself.
Ah,
So
interesting.
it is a very yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
really cool show. So if you do get a chance to check it out.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Is it kinda, like, almost speaking to how, like, yeah, like, you could have, like, really militant Christians or something, and
Mhm.
they're always, like, very strict, but then I know some of them kinda, like, they grow in consciousness a little, and then they start questioning things, and they break out of
Yeah.
the strict religious route, and they kinda find their own path.
It is like that.
Mm,
I
mm.
think and now I think we've gotten to this point where we are starting to question a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause bringing it back to Star Wars, like, a lot
Yeah.
of the old Star Wars stuff is, like, portraying the Jedi as these good people and
Yeah,
all
it's
that.
true.
But
Yeah.
then all the recent stuff is, like, no, these people are flawed and they have as much potential to cross over to the dark side,
Mm.
and it's not always black and white.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
anyway,
It's like
yeah,
2 sides of the same coin, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
eh yeah, I think it's just it's useful to think for ourselves
Mm.
and also, like, not everything has a straight answer.
Yeah,
Especially when it comes to, like, who we are as people, it's constantly evolving.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recently I went to the Zen meditation thing a while ago when I was in Vietnam, and the teacher, he was really good, actually, and one thing I realized from Zen meditation was that Zen is actually a really masculine way of meditating,
Mhm.
whereas Vipassana is much more feminine, and, like, prior to experiencing either, I didn't realize there was this huge sort of, like, spectrum of, like, vibes of meditation, I suppose. But when I was doing Zen meditation, like, there was a point where I was like, "Oh, I can feel certain things, and this feels really good." But I could also feel emotions are coming up, like then I asked him, it's like, "Well, what do I do about the emotions when they come up?" And then he was basically saying how Zen the practice of Zen, in a way, just bypasses meditation. Like, it's so oh, sorry, it bypasses emotion,
Mhm.
where it's so masculine. You're, like, focused on a fixated point, and it's almost like you're willing yourself to have such clear focus that you're just, like, going full speed ahead and your emotions don't have time to even be considered in a way. Whereas like Vipassana feels like the opposite, where it's like you're constantly sitting in your body and you're examining all the different sensations in your body.
Yep.
But then it's like with Vipassana, sometimes I feel like you can go so into your feelings that it's like at a certain point, you're like, okay, I felt my body, I felt my emotions. Like I need to live my life and do shit, right? If you just spend 10 hours a day, like excavating the abyss, it's like, well, when do you actually live life, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like either side, if you take it too far, it can be a detriment to you.
Mm.
But then neither teacher tells you that, you know?
Right.
They're just like, okay, this is Zen, this is what you gotta do, and this is the way you're gonna feel good, right? And then Gowen gets like, okay, you gotta sit here, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, right? And I feel it's crazy. It's like, I feel like the base minimum is like, okay, this is my technique, this is what's worked for me, this is kind of the people that it resonates with, this is the kind of results you might get, this is the kind of problems it might help you with, et cetera, right?
Mhm.
But it's not everything, right? So if this is kind of what you need, then sure, go ahead and try it.
Yeah.
But if it's not, then maybe try Vipassana, maybe try this and that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, well, it would be nice if there was like a, you know, like a meditation guide or something, right? Where like
Right.
you go to this person and you tell them the things you're having trouble with, then they can recommend you the meditation that's like correct for you, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. Or perhaps
Yeah.
that's too easy. I don't know.
It's too easy?
No, in terms of like, I think that some things are a journey in themselves, and I think
Right.
this getting to know, right? Because I think the reason why it's there's like Vipassana doing this here and
Yeah.
then Zen doing this here is
Yeah.
because we as humans only live so long.
Right.
So like for them to like even get to the point of that they can like teach this really well,
Yeah.
it's like of course they're going to advocate for that because
Right.
I don't think I just don't think that our lives are long enough to be able to amass the type of wisdom that we might need in
Oh,
order
I see. Right.
um, to be able to do that. I
I
might
see
be
what
I
you're
mean,
saying. Yeah.
I would love to be wrong about that because I
Yeah.
think both of us having this conversation does show that, like, there are people out there who understand
Mm.
that, like, part of it is that, we are different, and
Mm.
navigating that difference is a huge part of being able to heal,
Yeah.
and that teachers that are able to have that discernment and
Yeah.
teach that to students are so important.
Mm.
So, yeah, there are people out there that I think exist for that purpose, but
Yeah.
I think I don't know, maybe there's some kind of, like, human limitation that
Right. Like,
creates this kind of, like, imperfect system.
well, I think we could definitely keep like, I mean, we keep evolving
Yeah.
and our wisdom over time collectively gets higher, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like, yeah, I feel like we're already approaching that point now where we're beginning to see past our own bubble.
Mm.
You know, like maybe in the past, it's like, yeah, this guy spent his entire life dedicating to the exploration of Zen.
Yeah.
They came to this climax. They're like, this is the answer, right?
Yeah.
And of course, it's like back then, it's like he only had that world, that little world, that bubble to work with. So that's all he could see, right?
Yeah.
But now it's like we've come into this life, into this time, and we
Yeah.
can see past his own bubble, right?
Yeah.
We can see past that teacher's bubble.
Yeah.
So now we can see, okay, well, we understand how he could have seen that as the whole world, but
Yeah.
we know that there's actually beyond worlds beyond that that might be worth considering.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're kinda at the edge of it then.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, yeah. I
Yeah.
think we're at the pinnacle of like human consciousness development, you know?
I mean, we have to be.
Yeah.
So I was talking about basic human needs.
Yeah.
So I study Ayurveda. This is how I kinda
Mm.
got here.
Yeah.
And in Ayurveda exists as a part of the Vedic system,
Mm, mm.
and it's a system of medicine, right? But
Right.
but why have the system of medicine? It's not just to help people not feel sick.
Right.
There's this actual word called swastha that I mention really often, and swastha means to be settled in the self.
Oh, okay.
And what this really is pointing to is that in order for you to have enough alignment to have clear vision on your dharma,
Mm.
you need to be healthy,
Oh, right. Yeah, for sure.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
And the problem, I think, with a lot of modern culture and just like how busy we're, how distracted we are,
yeah.
is that we neglect, and we've been taught largely to neglect our health. And
Mm.
it makes it really difficult on a very practical level when you're not healthy or in pain,
Yeah,
right? You're distracted.
yeah.
you're cold, you're hungry, you're whatever.
Yeah.
And if you aren't able to take responsibility
Mm.
for making sure that you are good,
Yeah.
your potential is cut off.
Yeah, well, 100%. Well, it's like you might be the best driver and you have the best GPS in the world, but if your car is like in shambles, you're not gonna get very far, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I would also say that's kind of I would put health under moksha as well
Yeah.
to help you. Yeah, that's the really important part of the equation. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm.
The reason why I brought that up is
Yeah.
because there needs to be a baseline, and I think that's why, a baseline of health, right? A baseline of wellness,
Yeah.
because if we are giving from empty
Yeah.
as leaders, as guides also,
Yeah.
that doesn't help anyone,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Because then it actually skews our vision,
Mm.
right? If, for example, if we're operating from our own anxiety, if
Yeah.
we're operating from our own perception of our own not enoughness,
Right.
that translates to as there's almost like this desperate energy
Mm.
of like, I have to fix the world as
Right.
opposed to I want to help the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, I and
100%. Yeah.
I think just recently I've leaned into this a little bit more because I
Mm.
realized like, yeah, I was okay,
Yeah.
but there were parts of me that were still not.
Mm.
And then just really taking responsibility to be in a place where I can be of service and it's not about me anymore. And
Right.
yeah, so I guess my question to you for all of this is like,
Yeah.
how do you maintain your vessel, your vehicle to make sure like you can show up the best for other people too?
Oh, I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
Uh,
Yeah.
but if you want to go a different direction, let me know. I'm curious now.
It's almost like you don't wanna take it too seriously, right? Where you're trying to fix the world and then it's so serious, and it's almost like you're trying to fix the world in a way so that you feel like maybe you have some significance?
Right.
Would you say that's kind of
Oh, that's also on
part
point.
of it?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. I think I recently had that same realization as well, where I kinda realized it's like, it has to be 50-50.
Mhm.
It's not just about completely you being in service to the world and, like, becoming like a martyr, right? And
Right.
self-sacrificing. But it's also not about, like, just, "Look at me, I'm so cool,
Yeah.
follow me, get views and stuff," right?
Yeah.
It's like, and it's all just ego, right?
Yeah.
It actually has to be 50-50, I've noticed, like, if you're all for the world, eventually you fizzle yourself out and you don't have any, like, oomph to you.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have your own power and impact and, like, magic,
Mhm.
right? Then I feel like you actually can't contribute as effectively if you
Mhm.
don't have, like, a healthy ego, for example, right? But
Yeah.
then if you're all ego and you're not contributing at all, then it's like you're just, like, sucking up the world's attention and you're sort of misusing it in a way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, recently I kinda came to this conclusion as well where I'm like, well, it's fun to do things for my ego where I feel like, "Oh, this is gonna be really fun, and I think people really like it, and I think I'll look really cool and stuff," right? But then it's like another part, it's like, if I don't have the part where I'm like, "Well, is this actually making a meaningful impact?" If I don't have that, then I also feel like not good, I suppose,
Mhm.
right? But it's like, if I only do things for my ego and I get a lot of views, it has no meaning or impact, then it feels empty.
Yeah.
But if I only do impact and I don't feel like I, Tian, the inner child of Tian get to exist and to play and to
Yeah.
be seen, then it's also really sad for me,
Yeah.
So, yeah, so trying to find that balance has been quite important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that leads me to that question is
Yeah.
like, how do you play?
Mm.
How do you maintain,
Yeah.
that childlike
Yeah.
spirit, which I think ego is part of that,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm-mm. I think it is to tap into sort of the energy of play
Yeah.
in a way, like, well, yeah, like, not to take life too seriously. Like, even when you're trying to save the world and help people and stuff, it's like you're doing it because it feels good for you. Like, fixing the tag of the world or, aligning the world in a way that provides a feeling to you that actually does feel good. You're not just doing it because you feel like
Mm.
you should or something, but yeah. But I would say like the best way, and I guess this becomes much more of a spiritual answer where it's like when you're really tuned into yourself moment to moment, you're gonna have impulses or intuitive nudges to do certain things.
Mhm.
And then when you let yourself just do it and not question it too much and have the faith that everything will be fine,
Yeah.
that usually spills out into doing things with like joy and levity, you know?
And curiosity.
Yeah, exactly. Rather than only doing things because you're like, okay, no, I need to save the world. So I can't do this and I can't do that because it's not, I don't think it's contributing to my mental idea of
Yeah.
what I should be doing to save the world, right?
Yeah.
Then you kind of take it too seriously. And I feel like that fucks it up.
Well, it does, because then
Yeah.
it becomes performative. Now
Yeah,
you put yourself
performative,
in a
exactly.
box.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Sorry, I cut you off. What
No,
would you say?
that's
Yeah.
exactly what I was just gonna say.
Yeah. So I just got excited. I'm like, yeah, it's performative. Exactly. Yeah. But sometimes you don't even know you're performing to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, yeah. You're just like, oh, I have to do this because well, I guess it's fun in a way where it's almost like you're playing this character of a savior or something in your mind,
Yeah.
and you're like doing these things. You're like, well, this is, if I was role playing as a savior, this is what they would do, right?
Yeah.
But then at a certain point, it's like your inner child is just like in the background, being like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like, just chill. Like, just why are you taking it so seriously? And stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really important to have that balance back to yourself of just doing things for the sake of joy. Yeah. I was gonna say, I think like maybe for people like us that's have more awareness and they can see the bigger picture and maybe wanting to help people. Sometimes you can be in your head about it of like, I need to save the world or something, right? And you don't know how to just live and have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think then some people they're all just about fun and drinking and stuff, or well, maybe that's not even fun. Maybe that's just escapism for them, right?
Right.
And then there's no sense of higher purpose. So yeah, either way, there's a balance to be found. Yeah.
Totally.
Mm.
I'm gonna wrap up the interview because I think we've covered like a really good amount of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
there anything like else you want to leave with the audience? What do you want to say
Well,
today?
there was a point earlier you said of how like, it's like whether someone should do Zen or Vipassana. Like sometimes it's like rather than going to a meditation consultant or something, they should just find out themselves as part of the journey, right?
Yeah.
I feel like we're going into an age where it doesn't need to just be so self-experimental, because it's like you go to a doctor and then it's like, I have a cough or whatever. And then the doctor tells you what to take. The doctor's not like, well, go on the journey yourself and figure it out, Like, I feel like we can get to a point where we're so conscious and so aware that we can like prescribe, spiritual medicine in a way with such high accuracy that it's exactly what the person needs. But I know what you're saying. It's like, would that take away a sense of like exploration, autonomy within that person to discover things themselves? I'm like, that's a good point too. I don't know, but I feel like, if it's like you can come to someone, whether it's a meditation consultant or whatever, but it's like they can just completely see the full picture of you and just prescribe exactly what you need to get to your truth, your essence, and your purpose, right? Like, would that not be also very cool?
I think it would be cool, but I think there's always going to be somebody needing to also come up with their own answers. So, and as a coach, what I do is like, yes, I can see. Yes, I can see pretty clearly, what's going on. But I also know that sometimes advice falls on deaf ears.
Right.
And so, but I hold space for the discovery to happen.
Yeah.
Right. Rather than actually pushing and imposing my view, it is just suggesting and opening and leading somewhat so that people do come to their own conclusions. Because that,
right.
I think also at the end of the day, empowerment is incredibly important.
Yeah.
Self-empowerment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, not to say you're pushing your views on, but it's like if you can completely see the picture, and okay, for example, okay, you really should be doing more Zen meditation or Vipassana. I think you can just like say everything and give it to them, and whether or not they take it is it's out of your control, right?
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. But it's like the whole like you can lead a horse to water, but you can make them drink. But that's like how effectively can you lead a horse to water, right? Right. And I feel like we can get really effective at leading a horse to the water, much more so than maybe in the past.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do agree with that.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So that's what I'm really interested in.
Yeah. I think that's the journey of a coach, right? That's the journey of a life coach. That's the journey of a spiritual guide as well, is learn how to be that better guide.
Yeah. But then you're saying, but that's an interesting question. It's like how do you become such a good guide that you don't, it's like you're guiding them so well that they never learn to guide themselves, right?
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
I don't think, I think that will continue to be like the question for humankind almost. And I think, we'll just keep going in that direction.
Yeah, and just see how it unfolds, right?
Yeah.
Mm. Cool. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Tian.
Thank you. Yeah, that was
Good
great.
job. Thanks for tuning in to From the Ashes. If this episode sparked something in you, remember, your evolution matters, and we're rooting for you every step of the way. For coaching, community, and free resources to help you rise into your full potential, visit thevibrantvisionary.com and download the Vibrant Visionary Blueprint, your free guide to reclaim your energy, clarity, and creative fire. If you love this episode, please share it with a friend or tag me, Valerie, on Instagram at vibrantvisionary.val. I'd love to hear what resonated for you. Until next time, keep rising.